Rock and roll, man.
It's rock and roll. So, hello everybody. This is episode 5 of Voices in Society, and this topic is homelessness with my wonderful, very special guest, Angela.
Hey, what's up?
You all right?
No.
Is it still slipping?
Still slipping. I'll figure it out. Don't worry. We'll figure it out.
I'm going to start off with the statistics because I was looking at some statistics from Shout, and they says that 1 in 24 people in Birmingham are homeless. Do you think that's accurate, or do you think there's many that are undocumented?
It's quick maths, that is, isn't it? So it's trying to figure out 1 in 24. I don't know, because when they do the count, it doesn't seem to be that many people. The last count, I think, was in the 60s, which is good in one sense, because it means there's not thousands of people on the street. However, what it means is that there are 60 more people than should be on the street.
Yeah.
So,
but I think Shout said there was something like 280,000 in England alone.
okay.
Which is a very high figure considering the population levels.
Yeah, that is. One's too many. That's what I
Yeah.
would say. One's too many. Sorry, I'm trying to get in. So yeah, one's too many, and that's not good. But yeah, that does seem high.
What's your role then within the community? Let us know.
Well, I go out twice a week. Well, it's actually 3 times a week now, but I'll tell you about the one in a bit. Twice a week, Wednesday night, Sunday morning, and we take out hot food, hot drinks, and the ever important hugs, because that's more important for us. It's that connection. The food and everything, as I've always said, is secondary. It doesn't mean that we don't take care in what we provide and make sure everything's cooked, temperature controlled, everything else. But that's the hook, if you like, to get people to come to us, and while they're there, then we get talking to them. Yeah. And try and help in other ways. We also do a third run now on a Tuesday. We did the first one this week, just gone. Because when we did a week, the other week of, with the school meals.
Yeah,
when there was all
yeah.
that malarkey.
Because you was at sort of church, wasn't you, in Barley Green?
So a mate of mine wanted to do something. She's in one side of Birmingham, I'm in the other. And then a couple of people contacted me, and we went out and we set up by a church, gave out some food, but we didn't see that many children.
Okay.
We saw a few. We let people know, and I'm sure if that had longevity, then there would be more as it built up.
Yeah.
But what we did find was there's people who need support in other ways, adults, some families, some individuals, addictions, mental health. So we tried to address those. Now, we can't change anything. We're not a registered group. We're not like counsellors or anything like that.
Just do it on your own back.
We just do it because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And so we can't advise, we never advise anyway, but we can help and we can signpost to other things. So, yeah, that's what we're doing. And whether it's making a difference or not, I think it is. The guys and girls who we see, we'll call our road lovelies.
Yeah. I love that term for them.
Sweet. But yeah, we basically just out there trying to help in whatever, to just be a bit of comfort, really.
Yeah.
More so than anything. And because we are self-funded, we can't do the immense things that other groups can do. Not that they really do, but we do what we can.
What I liked what you said, our phone conversation the other day, you mentioned that you find that when you just go out and just give them food and give them clothes, that you enable it, whereas that's not your role. You want to get them off the streets. You don't particularly want to just keep them on there and keep giving them stuff. That aims to get them off there, not to make them comfortable necessarily.
Well, yeah, I mean, I use the example when we spoke the other day. If I came to your house and said, right, you stay in bed, I'll do your washing, I'll do your ironing. It's never going to happen, but still. I'll do your washing, I'll do your ironing, I'll cook your meals, I'll do whatever. You just stay there. You'd be like, oh, I'll just stay here then. I'm just going to do it all. It's good. But if I came to your house and said, right, come on, get up. We're going to go and do the shopping. Yeah. We're going to cook the meal together. We're going to wash up together. We're going to make your bed. We're going to iron your clothes together. That's less of the enabling and more of the proactive, getting some people more proactive in their lives. Again, as we discussed the other day, where we were saying about groups that get a lot of funding, charities that get a lot of funding, and this is why I won't go down the charity route for this, is because you can have a lot of funding. I know groups who've had lots of money, And not to say that, not to belittle what they're doing in any way, shape or form. But if you get £1,000 plus, why are you just buying socks and crisps and food and all that stuff? Why not invest that in something more long term?
Yeah.
And actually help people off the street. And I actually had that bit of a crisis, I think it was last year, where I was like, I don't want to do the Sundays anymore because I want to put something else in place to try and get people off the street. That hasn't panned out because of, you know, coronavirus and everything else. Am I allowed to say plan-scandemic? Sorry.
Yeah, if you want. It'll probably get blanked out.
Yeah, that's fine.
No, you're more than welcome to say that, yeah.
Because of all the stuff that's going on, and it's just utter nonsense. We haven't been able to put a lot of the things in place that we wanted to do, like we were hoping to do the second launch event. I know you were there for the first. We wanted to actually do the second one this year, do a bit of fun. We do a biannual fundraising event with my friend Nick, and that keeps us going. That sort of keeps us going, but we haven't been able to do any of that this year, so we're sort of running on fumes, and we haven't been able to put the plans in place. However, I went back out on the Sundays because, well, if I can't do that, it's quite strange. I sort of get pulled back to the street every time I've tried to go.
It's like you're calling.
Yeah, it most certainly is, and I did ask for it, but that's another podcast in its entire self. But yeah, the whole point of us going out there, as I say, it's not to keep people where they are. It's to try and inspire them to get off the street.
Yeah.
And not just to get off the street, but to stay off the street.
Where do you find that balance? Because they still need clothes and food and stuff, but they still also need that motivation. So how do you find that balance? Because I'm assuming you don't deprive them. I'm not,
No,
you're not the kind of person to deprive them.
I'll be honest, it's only recently I've stopped asking, but I used to ask a few people when they come up, because this perception of, and I suppose it is a bit judgmental of, are you actually on the road? And I've stopped myself doing that because it doesn't fit well with me and sort of the journey that I'm on now, having recently found myself in the Christian faith.
Yeah.
If somebody comes to you for help, it's not for me to judge. I have the thing there to give.
Yeah.
And freely as you receive, freely give. Simple. Somebody gives it to me, I take it out. So there shouldn't really be any element of that. What does wind me up is that we do food parcels and things to people as well. I get bits off people, and I need, say, 30 tins of meatballs to do a meal, for example. If I've only got one, it's pointless.
Yeah.
So any extras that I've got, we'll put together and put out as food parcels. Now, you will get people who take advantage. You will get people when we hit the street who take advantage of that as well. And it's annoying because when I first started volunteering and going out with other groups, I remember a well-known bakery store that came out once, and they give out their leftover food. And they give over bits and bobs and everything else. And they came out one night with these huge, well, whoever had been to collect them had these huge trays. And people were taking like 6 at a time, and then I saw somebody else over the back take a bite, then throw it over the shoulder, and I was like, well, you don't really want that.
You don't need it, clearly. If you was hungry, you'd waffle it down, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you're taking it because it's free.
Yeah.
But this one particular night, a guy came down on a crutch, and he had a bandage on his head, and it was like sort of bleeding through. And he walked up to us. He still had his hospital band on. And he was like, oh, have you got anything? Just cup of tea, anything. I was like, mate, we have literally been wiped out. We've got nothing. And it's because everybody else had been so craven that we didn't have anything to give to him. So it's kind of like, it's the
hard
fairness element.
Yeah.
So it's never about depriving somebody. If somebody wants something, it gets me home quicker, to be fair.
Yeah. Because
once everything's gone and if nobody wants to stay and chat, then we leave. So, but while we're there, I like the fairness element that, don't take 10 bags of crisps, take 2 and let somebody else have some as well. So,
do you believe in giving them money? So you get a lot of them.
I think it's a personal choice.
Okay.
I think it's down to the individual. I have given money usually to people that I've got to know.
Yeah.
And what they then do with that is entirely up to them. Some of them will tell me openly, and I'm going to go and score Because some of it is solicited money and some of it is unsolicited. Some of it I will say, yeah, is a fiver. Or if I'm a bit flush, I'll go and get yourself something. Or if we've run out of food and I'm like, go and get yourself something, and they'll give them a tenner and they'll say, well, I'm going to go and score.
Yeah.
That's not down to me. That's down to them.
Is it for you more the intention of just giving? So you
Yeah,
don't look beyond
beyond
giving?
I think it's sort of, as I say, it's up to the individual, but also there is that element of, if I just keep giving you money, you're going to go and keep, I'm enabling your addiction, which I totally get. But they're kind of going to do it anyway. I'm not your mum. I don't want you to, and I don't want to enable your sadness and going down that path. But this is just for me personally.
It's up to you. It's up to you. You want to give them.
I try and do something else, and I encourage other, because I've been asked that question a lot actually over the years, and I came up with something else. You can go to a well-known store that sells things for £1, and you can buy 8 Twixes, 4 Twixes, 4 Kit Kats, I don't know, something else. And we've all got a bag or pockets, and you can break it open, put them in your pocket. And if you see somebody on your way to work, just hi, how you doing? There's a bit of chocolate.
Really
so just give something. So you're giving them something. The bigger thing behind that is you could walk to work every day, 5 days a week, and see that same person.
Yeah.
On the first day, they're just bloke in a doorway, or nuisance in a doorway, right? The second day, they become bloke in a doorway. The third day, they become man in a doorway. It's that build-up of, I'm seeing the person now.
And then you get to know them and it becomes the name.
And then by the second, third week or whatever, it's like, oh, there's Jeff in the doorway.
Yeah.
There's so-and-so in the doorway. And you're always going to get somebody who gives you a story to get some out your pocket.
Yeah, of course.
That's just the way it is. That's human nature. That's the way, and that's no different whether you're homeless, homed, or whatever.
And it is a hustle, isn't it? At the end of the day,
you got to do what you got to do. But I've found, and especially over time, and I still can never be 100% sure, but I've found over time that when you build up that level of sort of what I call trust, or what I think is a trusting relationship between myself and that person, they will just naturally open up to you and start talking to you. And some of the stuff I've heard about people's childhoods, about their lives in general, I've never been out onto the street thus far and said to anyone, why are you here? Because it's not my business. I'm there to serve you in some way. And that's it, really. I'm not there to judge. I'm not there to tell you you've been a naughty boy or girl, or to try and put you back on the path. I'm just simply there to try and assist you at that time. If there's something else then that I can do, well, then we go from there.
And looking at the stigma side of things, as you say, a lot of them are referred to as a nuisance in a doorway or a bum in a doorway. I think there's a massive stigma that people think they was just born drug addicts and born homeless. They wasn't. They had jobs. They maybe, a lot of people, especially during the pandemic, they lost the job. They lost the home. And I think there's a lot of stigma that, they're all just drug addicts and, they're all alcoholics, whereas that isn't always the case, is it?
No, not. I haven't found that. There's people on the road who are there because there's mental health concerns, and of course when you have things like that, I always remember Fleetwood Mac, Peter Green, best band in the world, Fleetwood Mac. I see your man there giving it a cheeky nod. But best band in the world, amazing God-given talent for playing the guitar. I don't know if he took a bad trip one day or something and then just gave it all up and ended up living not necessarily on the street but in a sort of squalid state. Yeah. And he went from, everybody like, oh my God, it's Peter Green is a god, he's the best guitarist, to bum in a doorway. Does it make him any less? No. Does it mean that we should be like praising him there and casting anything on him down there? No, he's still a guy, he's still, that life. And guys and girls who I've met who have been through it, let's face it, they've been through it, man. Yeah. You don't just wake up, or like you say, you're not just born into, right, your life is going to be this. We don't know how our lives are going to be. And I think because we live in a very judgmental time. I've been judgmental, I probably still am, and I'm working on it, but we live in a time where you have to look a certain way, you have to be a certain way, you have to act a certain way. And it's all, a lot of it's false.
Yeah.
You know, nobody has those big eyelashes, and nobody is born with high heels on, and nobody has a hair extension.
When you strip it back.
When you strip it back to the bare minimum, we're all just here. We're all just, you know, these little beings who anything could happen to at any time. I myself have had issues with drugs. I myself have had issues with homelessness. Never rode homeless, but, you know, sofa surfing, and it's no fun. And thankfully, I wasn't able to get to that position because I have a good circle around me. But not everybody has that good circle.
No, they don't.
And that's why we need to be that circle for each other. We need to create these circles around people to help and protect, to almost like we would do with a child, to have that around them. And it will take some of the stigma away. That's why I use the term road lovelies.
Not homelessness.
Not homeless, because homeless, it has that negative connotation already. I remember when I was a kid, it was always the town tramp.
Yeah.
It was the tramp.
Yeah,
But it was
yeah.
like one or two guys walking around in a dressing gown with like a bit of rope holding it together, and that image that we have of, you know, the town bum, as it were. But now it's not like that. I've had guys come up to me and they dress very well and they smell lovely, and then they're telling me that they're on the street, or, you know, they're living in a doss house somewhere or something. So I think the bigger element with the stigma comes from us.
Yeah, definitely.
And we can change us. We can change how we think about things. You don't have to. You can get up in the morning. You can be a lovely person. You can try your hardest. You can be better than you were yesterday. Or you can get up in the morning. You can be a complete dick. Either way, the choice is yours. And whatever comes from that will be how the day pans out, pretty much. But how we treat people along the way is very important. And now I'm not sitting here like some, you know, I've got all the answers and everything else. But I know from my own personal journey along this path of life that I've been an arse. Yeah. I've been an absolute nightmare.
Also am sometimes.
Yeah, well, you know, we have those days, and, you know, human nature as well. So I've had those days where I've not been the nicest. I've not always done the right thing. Not always been kind. But I'm trying to change that. Yeah. Because you recognise it in yourself, and you say, well, actually, that wasn't very nice. I will not do that again. Yeah. Or I will try my hardest not to do that again. Yeah. And I think if we all did that, one of the things that we could get rid of is this stigma, you know, and it's this victim thing as well. You know, it's a two-way street. I can keep bringing you the breakfast, and you're going to feel, woe is me, I can't get up. Well, actually, you can. There's nothing wrong with your legs. Come on.
So where would you start then when you say, you know, you want to get them and motivate them? What would you do? Would you help them get into maybe a housing association, such as where I work, you know, get them a shared room? How would you start that? Because it's hard for one, you know, it's not a one-person job, is it? You know, if they have got drug addictions or mental health issues.
Well, this is the thing.
It's very hard.
It's about having that in place where it's not just one thing. I think you can take somebody off the street, and my perception when I first started as well, in my naivety, everybody on the street needs clothes and food, and everybody on the street is starving, and everybody on the street. No, it's not. No, that's a lie. And you find that out when you're there. When you're in it, you don't necessarily, from the outside, when you get a bit closer to it, as with anything, when you get a bit closer to it, you actually start to see it for what it really is. Yeah. And having that view then opens your mind to what sort of things can be put in place. Now, you can take someone off the street and put them in a house. Yeah. Oh, they're not on the street anymore, they're not homeless.
But you're not eradicating the issues that they've already got.
Because what if that is a person who's come from, we'll just use the example, if somebody is a victim of childhood abuse and they've never dealt with it, if that person's an alcoholic, if that person's a drug addict, if that person's got severe mental health illness, anything that's negative in their life is not going to be fixed by putting them in a room or a house somewhere. No. It's not going to fix it. But if you've got good mental health services, if you've got good drug and alcohol rehabs, if you've got good dry houses, pre-dry houses, if you've got somewhere that they can go while they're still rattling, then move them onto somewhere where they're not. But all of you know, over the years, and it's been like, the funding's been cut for that one, they don't provide that service anymore, so no wonder we've still got.
Well, I was going to ask that, where does it stand for people that don't have any kind of income when it comes to rehab? Because, you know, if you put a lot of drug addicts into rehab, it would help to eradicate the problem, but you know, there is no funding for it, is there?
And there needs to be. Now, see, this is something I'm not 100% on, so I can't speak on what I don't know. I know that there are some excellent rehab services. There are some really good people who can get you into these places. There are a lot of good solid places. One of the things that winds me up, and I must admit, it's the housing element of it. You've got a lot of private landlords making a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a money spinner, isn't it?
Because they offer, and I'm going to put it in air quotes, supported services.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll come and see you for an hour a week, and we will, are you okay? You're still alive? We'll check our little boxes. Next.
Yeah.
Well, that's no good.
No.
And the fact that these services, a lot of them as well, and again, this isn't me slating them because it isn't my problem to fix that. This is on them. This isn't on me. I can only do what I do. They can only do what they do. But 9 to 5, children aren't 9 to 5. If you have a kid, it's not 9 to 5. You don't just switch off at 5 o'clock. Right, get in the cupboard. See you in the morning. Well, most
people wish they could do
most
it.
People, do you know what I mean? Most people don't. But then you do have that this thing of, right, it's a business, and charity and business are not one and the same. Charity is it's heart.
Yeah.
Business is head. Business is money. Charity comes from within. It's about what I can do, whereas the business and all of these, again, I'm just going to make the point and then not make it again. I'm not slagging anyone or anything in particular, as again, that is their thing. That is not for me to fix. That is not. I'm just highlighting this.
Yeah.
Okay. But it does piss me off because you get a lot of money when your CEO is on a 6-figure salary. And I'm tired of hearing the argument, oh, but they do so much and they have to logistics and all that. And I'm like, yeah, but the ones who are doing the work are the volunteers and they're getting nothing.
Yeah. So look, these services, you know, they are money spinners, but do you not believe that if a good person goes into these services, maybe that one person can make the change, regardless of the company, that one person can still help? Even if it is, say, an hour a week support, within that hour, if said person is maybe getting them into services and, you know, helping them, is that still a possibility? You know, could they still
I think they can, and I think they do. And I think from the point of view of the person who goes in to help, I think what happens is the system grinds them down. Yeah. So they become less. I know some really good, and I mean they've got hearts bigger than my head, and I don't mean I've got a big head.
I was thinking you've got a big head as well.
Like a physically big head.
Just measuring your head then.
Not from an ego point of view, size head. I'm just meaning just general measurements. They're really, really, really solid, good-hearted people. Yeah. And they go into these places with it's almost like the first day of school. And I'm this year I'm going to do really well. I'm going to do all my homework on time, and I'm going to get it all in.
It's
and
a
I'm going to
novelty,
do
isn't
everything.
it?
And then 2 weeks in, you're like, come on, who's having a fag beyond this? You know what I mean?
Burning the paper.
Do you know what I mean? It's like this is definitely what happens to some people, and then the people who suffer are the client. I hate using that term. The indoor lovelies, I will call them, because they then do not get the service that they are entitled to. Yeah. Perhaps and I think it's a disservice all around. I think the good-hearted people who want to do this, and some of these CEOs as well, I'm not going to knock them, I'm not knocking anybody, but they want to do good.
Some of them genuinely do
want to. With red tape. Like with SBC, I said, and people have said to me before, oh, turn it into a charity, you can get loads of funding and this, that and the other. I was like, why do I need funding? What more? I could do more, I suppose, and there would be other things to do, but
it's going to line your pocket, isn't it?
Why? Oh, you could get paid. I don't want to get paid. I'm good.
So your event last year, the South event, that was all self-funded?
No, we had, I mean, to put it on.
Yeah.
You mean, no. Paul at Mondelez, Cadbury's, as is more commonly known, I was introduced to him, and to be fair, he was a good man. He put a lot of his own money into that, a lot of his time, a lot of his effort, so massive respect to him always. And I borrowed, I think it was about 2,000 something off a friend of mine, because it was the first one, none of us had done it. We had 5 weeks and no budget to put this thing together. Oh my God. And do you know what the best thing is? I think the week before it rained and the week after it rained, the 2 Saturdays.
It was really hot that day.
And that day we
Yeah,
were
I
all walking
remember.
around like we were in the Sahara Desert. Like, somebody give me a drink quick.
Yeah.
So the event was, from a personal point of view, I think it was amazingly successful.
Really amazing.
We didn't make a lot of money. I think we ended up in profit by something like 200 and something pounds, which I still have. But we paid everybody back, and Paul had some of his back, and my friend had his back. And what we had left, we were like, right, we can move this forward and do something else. And then next year we'll do it again, because we've got people behind us from next year. And it was all cobbled together, as I say, in 5 weeks. But it was amazing. And it helped to raise
5
awareness.
weeks to do
5
that.
weeks, man. From start to actual day was 5 weeks. 5 weeks and no budget. And I don't know anyone is. So I'm quite proud of that.
And it was the people that was
I'm quite proud
there. I remember, I don't know the woman's name, I feel really bad, but I think she does a food bank, and she made me cry. I think she had something wrong with her. She was an elderly lady.
of that. I think that was.
I can't remember, I think Jane or something. And I was talking to her, and she had something wrong with her, but she was still helping. And it made me cry in the fact of all the things that you've got wrong with you, and all she cared about was helping other people. I think she puts food banks on. I think she had, I don't know where she said it was. I think there was one in Celio, she said. And she's like, you can just come there and have food. But she said, we desperately need volunteers. She was like, I'm pretty much doing it with a couple of people. No one really wants to come and help.
I'm trying to think who that was.
She was on the left, so where you had like the massage, she was on the left side of the field. If that knows
No,
it knows.
all I remember from that day is a lot of grass and yellow t-shirts and just running around and some name here, name there, turn. It was just, I wish I could have sort of stepped back and enjoyed the day.
Yeah, you was running around.
We were in it.
Yeah.
We were just in it, and it was like, yeah, we were in it, and I enjoyed it. But I suppose I could find out who that was. That wouldn't be a problem. But
I think she does 3. She said that she'd done 3, but I know she was, I say elderly, I think she was in like her 60s, to be fair. But it was just the way she was speaking, and I think she's got diagnosed with something. I can't remember, as I say, it was that long ago, but she really stuck in my head and in my heart as well, because I thought, you know, you've got all these things wrong. There's people that have got so much more than what you've got and are doing so much less than what you're doing.
But isn't that always the way?
It's always the way.
The people who will give more are the people who have the least. And that's always
because we know what it's like to come from nothing, don't we?
To either have nothing or to come from something to nothing, and you know, you wouldn't see anyone go without, because you know yourself. And many of the people who I know who offer me stuff, I mean, I'll put out things on Facebook and say, guys, I need some jeans or some socks, and people rally round and they're like, I got you know, next thing you've got like 12 pairs of jeans and 4
it's
pairs of
amazing,
trainers.
I think I've followed a group that done that.
That's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Because you could give me £1,000, and I'm hoping that you will. So you give me £1,000, and I go and buy the things and then take them out. And all that does is you go, oh, I've done my good deed for the day. I go and do what I do, take it out, and then I go home. So there's no connection. There's no connection in that. You've just given the money, feel good, and you're off. And then the end result isn't really good either, because it's quite rushed and pushed.
Yeah.
So
here you go. Here's that buy.
Buy. So if I try and include the person who gives me the thing and say, oh, this person stopped me in the street and gave me £5. This person's name is Jeff. Or this, you know, and with that we went to the supermarket and we bought this. And then we took it out to our road lovelies. Done. It shows that, one, transparency where the money's going, and two, it shows that connection, because you're not then removed, because I can then come back and show you that's who you helped.
Yeah.
And so it keeps that circle going.
And you see the outcome as well.
The outcome as well. I think people need to see that more, because then it would. I've been reading on Facebook that not Red Nose Day, the other one with the bear. Children in need. That apparently the money to them has gone right down this.
Look how much they earn, and I just think, where does it go? Like how much?
Not to the children.
How much? I mean, we're talking billions, aren't we? That's been donated to them since they was originated.
Little Johnny was looking for shoes when I was at school, and I'm 46 now, and now Johnny's grandson's looking for shoes too. So where are these millions that have been gathered and garnered over the years? Oh, but Lenny Henry's got. And the next one's got a nice, and then they've got a nice speedboat, mate.
Yeah, but the kids have still got nothing.
But the kids, little Johnny's grandson is still looking for those shoes. Do you know what I mean? So I just go, you know what? Cut out the middleman.
Yeah.
Little Johnny, there's some
it's a pair of shoes. Yeah, that's a pair. Yeah.
Jeff, give me that. There's a pair of shoes. Cut out the middleman. The chat. We don't. I'm not going to say we don't need charities because we're doing. Geez, imagine how much worse it would be if there was nothing in place.
But I think the funding can sort of be...
If it was made more evenly distributed, I think if the wealth came down a little bit more to the people doing what they were doing down here, the ones who actually do the work. And I think put more into the services. If that children in need has made 2-point-something million last night or whenever it was, because I stopped watching it years ago. But if they made that amount of money, make them accountable. If somebody comes to me and asks me, right, well, I gave you £20 a month ago and I want to know where you spent it, I have a little tin that I can pull out and say, there's the receipts for what I bought. That was the Facebook thing that I put you on. I can show it. So why aren't we holding them to account as well?
Well, they should be, really. And
anybody who's in a position of power with money should be held to account. That's the government down. Because we're held to account. If you get your money, you're told how not how to spend it, but
I've got to prove where
you have to prove where it's going to the tax man and to everybody else and all your earnings and everything else. But so why aren't we holding these people who are living? They're essentially getting this money to help people in their lives. So that should take more precedence over anything else, and it isn't. And that's something, again, there's so many things on my list that I find.
And I think it's a lot more frustrating for you, as you call it, a plan scandemic. It's majorly affected vulnerable people.
Massively.
And the fact that, you think it is completely exaggerated, let's say, and it's affecting these people.
Yeah, well, we didn't come out in the first one. I stopped doing the SVC runs because I was concerned, as everybody else was.
It was new to us, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was all new. It was all very scary. I was one of the ones out the front of my house like a twat clapping for the NHS, and I was also, doing other things and telling people on my Facebook. I think at one point I even had that stupid thing going around your profile picture: stay at home, save the NHS.
Oh yeah, the blue thing.
It's not our job. Can I just say it's not our job to save the NHS? That's why we have our elected officials. So just put that out there.
That old man that raised so much money for it.
Yeah, oh, little Tom. I wonder what happened to... Just interesting, if anybody knows what happened to Tom's money, because I heard at one point all they'd done was put a vending machine, a coffee vending machine in one of the hospitals, and I was like, so little Tom was walking up and down on his little crutch thing, his little walker, and 1-point-something million, I think, and it might even have been more than that, raised all that money, and they managed to buy a vending machine. I smell fuckery. So let's not take us off track with that. I forgot where I was going with that actually.
Vulnerable people pandemic.
With that. So with the first one, I was like I say, stay at home, save lives, NHS, and all that malarkey. And we did it, and I was proud that we did, and I think we all pulled together as communities. Yeah. And I think it showed that the world was a little bit kinder. People were checking on their neighbours. Yeah. The second one now.
I think people have woken up a little bit more, haven't they?
I think people are a little bit more... Well, we were scared with the first one because we were told there was going to be dead bodies lining the streets, and praise Jesus and thank God that there wasn't. But we can see it now. And the bigger picture, I'm not going to get conspiratorial in this at all. We're going to keep...
We can save that for another day.
We'll save that for the third podcast. Literally, I'm not going to get into that. But if people can't see that there is something amiss... Yeah. And even if you're not on the powers that be train and thinking in other ways, it makes no sense. No. And the most commonly used phrase that I've used for the majority of this year is, it makes no sense. Like when I pick up my Bible and I read something, I go, oh, that's so beautiful because that makes sense. When I look out then at the world and go, that doesn't make sense because it makes no sense, because that's just, it just doesn't. The rules, turn left, turn right. What, at the same time? Yes. Turn left, turn right. Yeah. How? We can't do these things. And I think as many people, one of the things, and people were messaging me in the first lockdown, what's happening to the homeless? And I was like, I've no idea because I haven't heard anything. So then we did a bit of digging, and it's like, oh, they're all being put up in hotels. Oh, funnily.
Oh, was it being put in hotels?
Initially, into places of residence, and the people who wanted to go in. Now, bear in mind, I'm in my house. I hadn't left my house at that point, and I was told that everybody who wanted to go in was homed. That turned out not to be the case. There were people who still wanted to stay on the street. There were people, if there was a tidal wave coming, they wouldn't want to go indoors. They'd want to stay on the street, and that'd be fine. That's their choice. Yeah. I noticed that hasn't happened for the second scamdemic. the second part of the lockdown, the lock up as we should call it, the lock up. That hasn't happened this time, to my knowledge, because if that is the case, why are people still coming out for food? And why the outreach is all back out now.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, there's certain things. I go about my day. I don't really look deeply.
So you still go out and do what you're doing now?
I just go out and do what I'm doing. And if somebody comes to me and they want a hot drink, give it them.
But yeah, they didn't stop being vulnerable, did they? Just because there was a lockdown, they were still vulnerable.
In more so, because if this was a thing that was going to wipe us all out, they're out on the street, whereas we can shelter in place. Where are they sheltering?
You're not giving them any shelter to go to.
You're not sheltering them anywhere. No. You know, what, you're going to go and sit under one of the arches and, I'll sit here. No. Yeah. It's probably best we don't go too far down that road, because there's so much that I want to say.
We will be sat here for like 3 hours,
just be like 19 hours of just me going, and it's all wrong, and it doesn't make any sense. So it's probably best to leave.
So going forward, what are your plans then to help your road lovelies?
This evening I'm going to have a jacket potato.
Okay.
I don't know. Moving forward, I'm just going to see what happens. Everything at the moment is around this corona malarkey. So you can't plan to do anything because you don't know what's going to be locked down. I'm a bit of I'm not a rebel. I'm not an anti-law person. I do, respect the police. I think they have a difficult job.
Just quickly think.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? And I just think, how is this going to play out for the things that we want to do? Thus far, and I must admit, we've had the police come over a couple of times to us on the runs, and they've been absolutely lovely.
Oh, okay, that's nice to see.
They've come over to say good morning, and we're like, George, do you want a cup of tea, Bob? We did have one the other week, and he came over and said, I've never seen you before. And I said, well, that's funny, because I've been here for 4 years. But they've been absolutely lovely. I can't slate the police. They do a difficult job. It's not a job I would want to do. I'm not, pro-police. I'm not like,
go police.
But I am.
You're not anti them either.
I'm not anti them. Yeah. Not in any way, shape or form. I think if you respect them, they should respect you. I think if you get mouthy with them, then of course you're going to lose a couple of hours out of your day. So what's the point? But I also think we don't know moving forward how all of this is going to be. So my plans currently, and I always say, how do you make God laugh? You make a plan. Is to
like that.
Basically, I'm going to just keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm sensible anyway. Most days, I like to just go ahead and get things done. If we do the food runs, I'll go and get my shopping. I'll go and get the things that we need. Anything else that we need, I'll do my collections and my drop-offs and food parcels. We're just going to carry on and do the things that we're doing. And I've always said, while there are people who are on the street who need help, and we can, we will.
Yeah.
So it'll kind of be that simple. So
you're never going to stop. You just.
No, it came up on a Facebook memory the other day. I must have had one of those days where I woke up in the morning and went, I'm going to end homelessness by 2020. So I've got, about 6 weeks? So I've got about 6 weeks to, if I'm going to stick to my word, because I think we can end it if the right things were in place, if it was run properly, if we took out the corruption and the fiddling the books and all that stuff, if we did it properly. And if people with good hearts were allowed to do their job without the confines of the red tape, we could change this in an afternoon.
And I think we've seen that, just to end it on that note, with the helping feed the children, the community that come together. I love community spirit. There's been so much community spirit, the amount of people that was helping, and I think it's given me a lot more faith in humanity now, because you just, as you say, you can put a status and say I need some clothes, and you'll get 10 people.
And you just get
So there is a lot of community spirit. So I think
definitely.
You just got to just keep doing what you're doing and just
let's just
helping
keep
people
moving forward, man. Onwards and upwards, and praise God in all. And
amen to that.
Yeah, man.
Well, thank you very much for coming on.
You're very well, thanks for having me.
No, it's okay. I love talk. I'll carry on. Guys, I'm on a time limit. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's been absolutely cool. I don't know if anyone's on, if they've been staying on or whatever, but love you all. Stay blessed, and we'll catch up with you soon. Peace.
Bye. Thank you, everyone. That is the end of episode 5.